Welcome to Positive Philter with your host, Philip Wilkerson, a podcast that focuses on friends, family, health, and career, with a little self-help along the way. Please join me in this journey for self-improvement, and I hope what I have to share will make you a better person, thus making the world a better place. I hope you enjoy the show. I hope you enjoy the show. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's Philip Wilkerson back with another episode of Positive Philter. I'm joined by a special guest. Well, everyone's a special guest, but this is an especially special guest. I'm joined by my good friend, Marcus. Now, if you're a listener to the podcast, you know that Marcus is my best friend since preschool, but he's also been on the show because we had the pleasure of going to Christian school together. Shout out to that episode with Jeffron, right? But we're in the middle of a pandemic. Don't worry, we're 6 feet apart. Wink, wink. I mean, we are. Okay, and we're outside. So if you hear any crickets or whatnot, that's because we're outside on my porch. But we're in the throes of it. We're in a pandemic. And so we're going to talk about some things. But before we get into the episode, Marcus, introduce yourself again to the listeners.
What's going on, everyone? Marcus Jackson, longtime friend of Philip since the sandbox, literally. And second time on the show. Glad to be back.
Well, so if you follow Marcus on Instagram, he's pretty funny. He actually is a comedian, actually does stand up. I keep on saying actually because that's what he does. But one of the things that he and I can commiserate over is being the parents of 2 kids. And so he has a thing on on Instagram called the Kid Chronicles. Marcus, go ahead and just talk about that. Why'd you decide to start kind of vlogging, as you say, your experience with 2 kids?
So when I think about it now, I think Kid Chronicles was an outlet for what having 2 kids was coming to be as a parent. It was a lot in the beginning. And I was like, I don't know if I'm built for this.
Yeah.
This is tough. And I just started recording stuff and just kind of telling people, those who wanted to have kids, those who had kids or had one kid and were thinking about another. I was like, look, I'm giving you a heads up. This is the real, uncut, unedited version. I mean, I usually have trying to put a spin on it because I don't like to call myself a comedian. I like to say I've done stand-up.
You dabble in comedy.
Every once in a while. But it was it was something I did for like a few months, and then I kind of like got away from it. But what's funny is after I did it, months after, and still today, I'll see people I haven't seen in a long time like, oh my God, that Kid Chronicles was so funny. And I'm in the back of my mind, I was like, you have no clue what I was going through. It wasn't funny to me at the time.
You didn't know my life.
I just needed to do it.
Hey, Alfred, I mean, that's real. The thing is that we match each other in experiences. I think I couldn't imagine going through parenthood with another friend. Is that 2 kids is a game changer. I would say that, I don't think anyone warned us. I know my parents didn't. But there's definitely a dynamic shift from 1 to 2.
Yeah, if you I was talking to this lady at work, and I didn't even know she knew about basketball. So if you know basketball references, you'll understand this. And we were talking about having 2 kids, and she's like, you go from man to man to zone, and it's not a game.
Yeah. I think about that basketball analogy, right, man? Like, you can switch off. You can say, I got him. But there's no switching off. Like, no. You all have to pick somebody.
No. Yeah. I'm sorry. You go from zone to man. So now one has to be on one at all times.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Like,
I messed up.
Either way, the term, it's a lot easier. And, I mean, I don't want to diminish anyone's experience. Like, I always... Like, when you see a person with 1 kid, you're like, oh, you don't know what you got. But, it's hard. It's hard. I just think that in my mind, even like I said, when I have empathy for someone else, I wish I can go back to myself in a time machine and be like, yo, like, this is good. Why you complaining?
Don't do it. Don't go to the light. Don't go to the light. Nah. There's been people that have come up to me and said, like, I've seen your videos and I'm good. We're just going to stick at 1.
No.
At least 3 people have said that.
No, I would say that on the flip side, being in it, I wouldn't trade it for anything. I would go back in a time machine and tell myself, 1, to prepare, or 2, enjoy it. Like, it's always hard to be in the present moment and think, oh man, this is hard, and then you take it to the next level and you're like, wow, what I thought was hard is not hard. This is harder. You feel me?
Yeah, the baby situation, well, just having one, when they're not mobile and it's your first one, you're stressing out just because it's your first one. And when you get another one, you're like, wow, this was the easy part because they don't have to move. And then when the second one moves, you start questioning all your life.
Yeah. But I'm a what are, this is Positive Philter. I've already thought about the positives though. Like,
I'm the wrong guy to have on here.
I'm just saying it's not here yet. I ain't saying it's here yet. No, it is. But I'm just saying, like, they're eventually going to entertain each other. And we're getting close to it. Like, we're getting close to them.
No,
like,
they're entertaining each other now. It's just in a hectic way. Like, nonstop.
It's a lot of screaming and yelling. Yeah.
It's off the hook. You got 2 toddlers. It's a game changer, boy or girl, no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah, so, let's talk. You're doing a lot of things. We're what has been some of the difficulties? I'll admit that one of the things I was better at doing with one kid was doing my powerlifting. That joint's gone. And so I feel like side hobbies were a little bit easier with one kid. I think it's a little bit more difficult when you have 2.
Yeah, time is pretty much gone. I was taking a graduate level class during the pandemic, pretty much 2 of them, and I realized that I had about hour and a half when they were asleep, and then at night around after 8:30, 9, and that was my time. So literally
9 to what?
To how long I could stay up. but so when they nap, like, I'm usually like, I want to nap too.
Oh, you sleep?
So when they nap, I would usually try to nap and then do my work after 9, or I would try to do my work and then go to sleep at regular time, or it would depend on how I felt throughout the day. So I literally looked at my day and said, I have about 3 hours to myself, period. Like both of us, me and my wife, Jen. So we had 2 hours while they were asleep, maybe an hour or so after they go to sleep. That's it. You got 3 hours.
It changed your perception of time.
And then, you got other things to do in your life. You got things to do around the house.
Well, you kept that with working out.
Homework.
So you keep on with working out. When were you doing that?
So that fell off.
Not really. You still got the equipment.
I worked out yesterday, but I haven't worked out in a month after that. Because it was those 3 hours. And I said, what?
Yeah.
When you get those, when you only have 3 hours. And I'm like, do I really want to spend 45 minutes working out and then like 20 minutes in the shower out of my 3 hours that I get? And at the point, I was like, I don't want to do it anymore.
Well, you got a month in. I'm about 2 years.
Yeah.
Shout out to my trophies.
I'm working on some things, but now the class is over, so I'm trying to readjust. But
that is the prioritization. Me, I'm doing way too much. I'm the man of 1,000 hobbies. Podcasting and alpha and all kinds of stuff.
Just 1,000?
I don't know. But I definitely noticed that eventually I don't fall asleep anymore. What I do is I pass out. like try to do my things like those 3 hours, like those at night things, and then I wake up on the couch. And so I don't know, man, it's a hard balance. What are some ways that you really try to stay in touch with your people? How do you squeeze that in?
It's really gone down during the pandemic because now it's a lot of in the house time and just going around. You're always focusing on your situation, and whenever someone that I haven't talked to in a long time kind of like crosses my mind, I try to shoot him a text right then, as random as it is.
That's that's my go-to.
That's your thing.
Yeah.
But I shot a text to one of our friends, Jessica, who just had a baby recently, and we were great friends in college, and we still keep up. But I haven't talked to her as much as I wanted to with her just recently having the baby, and I thought about it today and just shot her a text, and we just kind of chatted a little bit. So it's rough, but you do what you can. I think everybody understands with what we're going through right now.
I think so. I think a lot of people have given grace. Me, I used to be petty about it. Like, I ain't heard from someone in a while. But I would say the silver lining of this pandemic is giving me a lot more empathy that...
I'm sorry. I need bug spray. We're outside. I'm getting lit up.
Yo,
y'all can probably hear every
yeah,
spray.
and we're not.
I'm gonna just get it over with
We're not
now.
going to edit this out because this is real. We outside to show that we're outside.
Yeah, this is 6 feet. Bugs aren't respecting CDC guidelines right now. Lighten me up.
No mask.
All right, we're good.
Yeah, but I get that too, like the staying in touch and randomness. But also, I also understand that I have to have a little bit of empathy too, because you know me, I used to get in my feels heavy about people staying in touch. But I think this pandemic has really, really, actually, honestly, given me a lot more grace. Where like if I didn't hear someone for like 6 months, but I hear from them, I'm like, thank God you're still alive. Like,
Yeah,
that's about as good as, you know.
Yeah, because you don't know what people are going through with the pandemic and kids.
Not at all.
If they've, lost someone through the pandemic.
Not at all. Like,
it's rough.
It's one of those times where it's like, man, how you doing? And if someone hasn't heard from you in a while, they dump on like, I lost this person, or I lost my job.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. So I'm gonna try to keep that mindset when it's over with, that like people got lives. And I think one of the things that really drove home with 2 kids is that how with your time and window, how often you can't really have a full phone call. Sometimes you have to squeeze them in, like, yo, I'm going to the grocery store, let me call someone on the way to the grocery store. So I feel like I'm always, what you call it, like stacking. You heard of that term before? Stacking activities, like multitasking, but stacking, like I'm going to make sure that every time I'm on the road, that's my normal thing, I'm gonna be driving. How can I multitask and drive? Like, drive and listen to a podcast. Drive and listen to my favorite music. Drive and call people. Like, I had to stack my activities.
Yeah.
And I had to do that before I go in the car. Like, I'm going in the car, I'm going to call someone. Like, I had to, like, set my mind what I'm going to do.
Yeah, when you have, we have a kid, period, but when you have 2 kids, you really have to maximize every ounce of time that you have, especially, you're trying to do your podcast and your other randomness. I can't even name everything. But, there's some small things that I want to do, and I'm thinking I got to put a time limit or a deadline on these things so I can start knocking them out and just kind of, tapping at each one each day a little bit. And so that's what I'm working on now that the class is over. But it's still rough because one day one might not nap. One might not nap, and then that throws a wrench into everything. One might want to stay up till 9:30 or still running around. It's
Do you use a planner?
I don't.
So how do you freestyle every day?
Because I don't have a choice. They freestyle every day. Why they get the freestyle and I got to write my verses? I'm freestyling too. I'm not right.
I got one John Blaze in that.
Man.
Damn.
I start writing my verse and they come down like, I'm not tired. No. All right, we freestyling every day, man. That's pandemic.
I bet you say you freestyle. You don't. I got a little bit of a planner. Like, not really. Not my physical. That junk gone by the wayside. It's like literally my Google calendar and my work calendar. I look and say, oh, what I got to do today, and I talk to Maggie. It's almost like every day we have a debrief. Like we're like going to like going on a mission and like, yo, what you got to do? What I got to do? Okay, what time can you do this?
Okay. Yeah, we do that for like big stuff for like work.
But I use the planner.
Yeah, we'll put stuff on the calendar like that. But like I'm talking about for like my side stuff that I'm trying to do.
That's not on the calendar.
Yeah, that's not.
No, I'll be with you.
So she'll have like some meetings for work. I'll have a call I got to be on. Might have a training I'm putting on, and like the big stuff, But it's rough, man.
I don't know. So okay, I'm way off veering, but pivoting back to the 2 Kid Chronicles, right? Like with that and doing it, and you're saying that people were reaching out to you, right? I don't know. Just take us back to that moment, like in the moment when you said you were doing it. Did you feel like this was a routine habit? I don't know how. I followed you all the time because you're my best friend. But were you pretty routine about it, or are you just like on the moment? Like, were you like, you know what I mean? Routine.
Yeah,
like I'm gonna post every day about this, or what? How was you doing that?
It was only when events were happening.
Okay.
And if you got 2 kids, you know what events are.
Yeah.
When I would have some events where I don't even want to spoil it for you because
I wish you could go back. I wish you saved them.
I know. I kind of wish. I know you can go back and look at them, but
would you make them highlights?
Yeah, I probably could. I mean, there was a couple that were really funny, but there were a couple that were really funny, and in the back of my mind, I'm like, I'm about to lose it right now. But it was really just, I'm just different. I think this is gonna sound terrible, but I say it all the time with Jen. I think there's people who were meant to be parents, and there were people who had kids, and I think I had kids, and my wife was meant to be a parent.
How about me?
You're in the middle somewhere.
That's what I'm saying. I would take that. Like,
You're in the middle.
I mean, I take that's totally.
You got like parenting, like you're in the middle.
I was about to say because I don't know. Like I think I'm in the middle of a lot of things. Like I
love being a parent though. Like you were.
I know, but I didn't choose this life. This life chose me. Like
this life definitely chose me. I was chosen.
I don't know. I mean, I like that idea. I mean, but I think that's a laser focus that a lot of people have. Like, yo, I'm gung ho. I'm about to do this, and there's people like they blink, and I was like, yo, how does this happen to my life? I feel like that's my job. Like I feel like that's my profession.
Yeah.
Like how I ended up at Mason. But I think the same thing. Like it was a cross. Like I always envisioned myself being a dad. I definitely didn't picture it like this. I didn't picture my kids like this. I didn't picture 2 kids like this. So I think I'll take that. I'll take that with a lot of as a compliment that I'm in the middle.
Yeah, I think one thing that showed me is like parenting is not what you think it's going to be. Like you have this plan, and then your parents maybe set a blueprint of what you should do or what you should not do, depending on your parenthood. And then you're like, all right, I'm going to do this, and this is how it's going to turn out.
Yeah.
And once you get your first child, you realize that is not how it works at all. Like my sons, my oldest son is completely different from me, and the things that my parents did that worked do not work. So I've got to go a completely different route and kind of, like I said, freestyle and figure it out.
It's like the Mike Tyson thing. Everyone got a plan to get punched in the mouth.
And we got punched like twice.
No, I'm KO'd. I don't know. I mean, just talking about that point too, I totally agree with that mindset. Is that like, the way my dad raised me is not. I'm not even close to how I do my dad's thing. We're doing it differently, but also like, I don't know. I think mine are different. As in, hashtag prayers for Maggie. I feel like I got too many clones.
What do you mean?
Like I got 2 little mini-me's. Like, look at my kids. They're me. Like
they're active.
They're active. Yeah, they're active off the chain. Maybe a little bit more confident. I don't know. But I look at my kids. I literally see, like, I feel like someone took me and split me in half. So like, they're different kids to each other.
Yeah.
But they're both I can look at them personally, and look at personality traits of both of them.
No, yeah, same here. But I mean, they both have like our activity level from when we were playing in school.
Oh, yes.
And it was cool back then, but it's not cool now.
I don't know.
I mean, I'm glad they're active, but oh my goodness.
I don't know. I mean, I definitely, and I like that you said that mindset that we have a plan. I'm like, dang, I turned out okay, but I'm like, dang, sometimes I'd be like, do I need, like, that old school mentality? Get the belt.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't do that.
Doesn't
now.
work with every kid. Depending on, how, I mean, if you want to do it, you can do it, but,
ain't working, yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't work. And then you're like, okay, what's next? That was my plan A and B.
Yeah. Mine's a lot of, like, threatening stuff. And then they look at me like, they don't work. Like, I'm going to take away your Nintendo Switch.
I'm not going to lie, man. If you threaten me, I'd be, I mean, that's not your thing. That's not your
I really feel like Miles looks at me and goes, whatever.
Yeah.
He's a bully.
Good dude, man. Shout out to Miles, who's going to be an Olympic athlete. In, 2040 something or
I don't
whatever.
know. He's swole. He's jacked. Oh, my gosh. I don't know. So, going back to it, right? And you didn't save it. How I know you dabble in comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, your stories are funny. And your stories are. Do you feel like by doing that, when you do these Instagram stories and all that stuff, do you do them over and over again like a routine? And if you do them like, oh, that's not good. I didn't say the right words. Do you try to capture it do you rehearse them?
Oh no, it's usually pretty raw.
Oh, that's fun.
Because when they're going off the chain, I want to capture it. So it's not for me. It's for everyone else.
Do you actually? And this is another thing. When you said you were doing it for yourself to get off your chest, did you also still do it for external? Not say validation, but external audience. Like in mind, you're like, yo, I'm dropping this. I know people like enjoy this kind of thing, or you're like, regardless if they enjoy it or not, I'm dropping it. Was it like you still thought of your you have everyone with social media technically has an audience. Did you ever think about like your audience in mind or no?
No, no, not really. I do a lot of things for the laugh.
Yeah.
And it was really just to make people laugh, and at the same time say, oh, that looks that looks like something I should think about a little longer.
Yeah.
But it was never. I never tried to rehearse it. Because usually it wasn't rehearsed. The play was going on in front of me.
Yeah.
I just had to hit record, and I would literally just start saying what I was thinking. There was sometimes where I was getting my words together, and something like even funnier would come to my head, and but it wasn't something that I'd be thinking about overnight. And
well, okay, and so talking about that, being on stage, obviously you don't get to see and feed off an audience when you do it on social media, right? You have to wait for a response and comments. But do you think that still prepared you, because you have gone on a real stage before and done it? Do you feel like, and this is just like anyone, as you say, getting into your side hustle, still doing stand up, do you feel like practicing and delivery and all that stuff on social media has prepared you when you do go on stage?
No, there's nothing like doing it in front of a live audience. But I think what I enjoy is when you get that comment from that random person you have talked to in so long, and they just give you like the smile or the laughing emoji, or like that's hilarious, and you haven't talked to them in years, and those are the ones I like say, all right, that must have been like pretty decent, or made them think, or it's pretty funny.
You think that humor and comedy is like the great equalizer, like it's like music, like universal? Like, do you feel like you connected across different cultures with that? Like, did you get some comments from like a random white lady, and then like a random black, a black person, like all kinds of different people?
Oh yeah. I got comments from my wife's family, the older generation, the younger guys that are working with me at work, and they're like, I don't know if I want to have kids. Like, you got it pretty rough, and so it was just. I mean, it really was to just make people laugh, and a lot of things happen in our house, and I'll just go to my notes and jot it down, and sometimes I'll speak to it on the story, and sometimes I'll just put it in my notes and leave it for like a stand up at a later date whenever that starts again.
So let's talk about that creative process. So you do actually, when you hear a funny story, I know you got a whole notes on me.
So my rule is, if you're not my sister, mother, or father, everything's on board. Like,
hold up. Talk about those are the ones that don't get notes, but everyone else.
No. They're the only ones I will ask. They get notes, but if they say no, you cannot tell this story, I will respect that. Everything that we do and everything that you tell me is liable to be on stage. I won't say your name, but I'm just letting you know. Like,
so do I need to send out, like, do I need to get you like a non-disclosure form?
I'm not signing it. I'm not signing it. I'm ripping it up.
I'm telling you, I feel like from our friendship, I feel like you got like a whole book of stories on my head.
I got a couple things, man. I got a couple things, but it's it definitely for people who want to do stand up. If you got kids, there's unlimited material. Material.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. So like, I'm not gonna say I'm funny on purpose, but definitely I can use my kids for material.
Yeah, you can tell a story and people are gonna laugh at it.
Yeah.
And what I'm gonna do is like jot it down, because I know you're not gonna do stand up, so I will steal your story too.
There you go. Can you say my man Phil? Just give me the credit. You know me, I eat all that up. So you definitely have notes on your phone. With the notes, do you have it in one like master list, or do you have it by person in separate categories? You know me, I'm nerding out. Like, you got folders, or you just got a one running thing? It
says at the top stand up, and they can just scroll.
Hey, you got a whole book.
Yeah, so that's what it's for. And
so how about when you have a show coming up, do you actually take some out and make it like notes for this show, or just go back to the real stand up?
No, I'll copy it and paste it into the actual show and get ready. But like I said, man, kids, I mean, you can be a comedian if you got kids. I think so. It's really not that difficult. You're gonna have some stories.
Well, I think you can be a comedian if you have kids and you're actually a decent storyteller.
Yeah.
Not everyone's decent storyteller.
Yeah.
Shout out to my wife Maggie. She's actually a pretty good storyteller.
Y'all fight over telling stories, which is funny because y'all want the laugh. I know you want the laugh, but
hey, you know I'm the punchline thief.
But she will definitely. I think she can tell a story better than you. Sorry.
Hey, no, I just told her. Shout out to her. She's really good at. The only thing I don't like about her telling stories is that my ADHD. You know, I'm trying to like get on her, and I'm like, get to the story. like, I want her to like really get to the punchline, but she does a good like. I think what I would say with Maggie is she does a lot of like build up, some like random character development. Like no one needs to know the character. She does that anyway, and then she got a good story.
It's called storytelling, man.
I don't know, man. Whatever. Forget her.
That's what it is.
She's better at storytelling, but she's good at that. So good stories and all that. When is it going to be your next show?
It's looking like October, November. No.
2021.
2020, possibly.
Where are you going to be at?
So.
Like somewhere outdoor?
No, I can't really speak to it yet. I'm not gonna speak to it yet.
No, TBD.
But it might be something where there's no people. I'm just being recorded, and maybe like a Zoom thing where people can log on.
Okay.
And see me. It's gonna be different. It's definitely gonna be different than the last show that was around this time last year. But you did a really good job for Ron. Shout out to that. Yeah.
I wish there was once we get the video clips, I'm gonna find some of the Instagram clips and put them in there. That was funny. That actually was like making me like, that's my man doing it.
He's talking a lot about kids.
Yeah, you thought some kid stories in there. You threw some white stories in there. I mean, this dude was going. So with that being said, you're gonna really continue. Like, is that something? And this is kind of expansion of two. Do you feel like at least as a side hobby for you, something that gives you joy? Are you still gonna do comedy in a sense, small and like I said, I'm not talking about quitting your job, but like something that you still continue to incorporate in your life?
Yeah, I mean, after the show, it had been like 9 or 10 years since I had done any sort of stand up. So I had done a few shows, not a few shows, but a few stand ups, a few open mics, preparing for the Ron's Live show. But after that, I was like, all right, I really like doing this, and it's not to make money, or it's not to. It's just like an outlet, kind of like you with your podcast.
Yeah, I ain't making no money.
So, right when at work, I did a stand up at work. It was just a few minutes. Had to be super clean, and the MC that was hosting, we started talking. He's like, "Yeah, I do stand up, blah blah blah," and I was like, "Okay." And I looked him up, and he's like a legit comedian.
Okay.
So then I saw him.
So he works with you?
Yeah, he's not. He works in the same building as me.
So what are you talking about? Legit? Like, go ahead. You're gonna talk about how he has a real.
As in, like, he's got a little like the little Comedy Central shorts.
Okay.
Like, he didn't say anything. So he was real humble when I talked to him. His name's Tim Miller, and when we started talking, he's like, "Yeah, I do some hosting for these shows in DC. Like, let's meet up. Let's switch, exchange information, and we can do this, man." I went home hype, and then pandemic hit. Like, I know everyone has a story like this where something was going great and then pandemic hit.
Hey, that is the story of a lot of things.
I like went home. I was like, oh my goodness, I'm about to be like I'm about to do this every weekend. Just like a show here and there, and start building. So you might
jump in with him, but like that. So was it seeing Tim Miller, seeing a guy that is in your normal life, but having that as a hobby? That's like, you look in your mind, it's like, I can do that too. Like, I can incorporate the comedy and also have a normal job like this guy has.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be cocky. I know that I'm like decently funny, where I can get like consistent laughs.
That's not cocky.
So sometimes when I look at certain specials and small, the little 30 minutes. I mean, I did 15 minutes at the show, so 20 minutes is really like a half-hour special on Comedy Central. Yeah, I think I can get like consistent laughs, but I don't want to disrespect the craft or the culture and everything like that.
Okay, well, first of all, it's also like saying that you think you're good at something does not mean you're cocky if you're actually good at something. One, and like, I mean, I would say I was good at powerlifting. Don't mean I'm cocky.
No,
I think you could say like you're good and you have a skill, and I think it's also okay to say that you're good at something and you have a skill where you actually put work into it. So, for instance, you're saying I'm good at this, but you've tangibly said on this podcast you take notes, you watch other people, you prepare. I mean, that's okay to say you're good at it because you actually put the work in to be better than average, right?
Yeah, I'll say I can do it. I think it's just stand-up is one of those things where there's a lot of funny people that say I can do that, and then they get up there and it's not as easy as you think it is. It's a little bit different. There's a lot of people who are really funny, but it's different when you got to like create jokes and you stand up in front of people. And I was one of the people like, I don't know if I can do it. So I kind of threw myself out there to kind of try it. But
I'm on a pivot right now. I'm about to pivot. Take us back to your first show. Didn't you
heavy pivot.
Yeah, heavy.
This is typical
Positive Philter.
There's Positive Philter. Philip Wilkerson that I've known all my life.
All your life. So you did that joint at Jamie. You did that joint at VCU, right?
Let's take a pause. I want to let y'all know that this podcast was about two kids. I have notes on my phone about two kids. I would have prepared for these comedy questions, but I'm still ready.
No, I mean, Kid Chronicles. I mean,
we coming back.
I was already like, I don't know. I don't even talk about no cute kids no more. Now I'm like, Kid Chronicles, and I'm more interested. This is for me. I'm more interested about
you can switch up the title. Kid Chronicles comedy.
I was about to say Kid Chronicles, the life of amateur comedian.
Trying to build.
Trying to build. Just put trying to build as a title. I don't know, man. I just, like I had this plan in my mind, but like now I'm more interested, especially in.
So let's go. This is a better route. I'm trying to get away from the kids at all times. So
exactly.
Getting away from the kids and talking about them at the same time is like.
I don't know. See, that's what I was about to say. I already knew in your body language. Also, I knew that I don't want to talk about my kids no more. I'm tired of the kids. Take us back to the first show. The first comedy show.
All right. So the story goes back to high school. Always thought I was funny. I was always, my mom hates this term, but class clown. It is what it is.
You were funny.
I was trying to. I always just wanted to make people laugh. So I always wanted to do stand up, and then my senior year of high school, they had a talent show. I said I'm gonna do a talent show. It was like a week and a half before graduation. So I said if I bomb, I'm gone.
See you
I'm
later.
going to VCU. It doesn't matter. Now, was I popular? I wasn't really popular at all. I mean, I knew some people do basketball and just me being social, but never popular, right?
B-level.
So
B-level.
I do the comedy show. I prepare for it. I don't tell anyone my jokes. My dad is like, you really need to run this by me. Like, I think he was worried. Like, I was going to get tomatoes thrown at me. So I do the comedy, or I do the talent show. I kill it. I get second place. I'm the most popular kid for the next week and a half of school. Well, and all I could think of was like, I wasted all this time.
I should have done this earlier.
So then I get to VCU, and my freshman year, there's a Greek talent show.
Yep.
So I hit up the lady running it. I said, look, I'm not Greek, but I want to do this. So I took like the same show that I had from from my high school and brought it to VCU. And it was funny because, they had the names of people and then their, sororities right beside it. And then in the middle just said Marcus Jackson.
Was it Marcus Jackson, GDI?
And so I'm sitting like, like Kevin Hart has that joke where he gets on the bus, like, not right now. Like, I told my friends, like, y'all got to sit over there. I'm sitting by myself. And the couple girls next to me were like, who's Marcus Jackson? I'm sitting there like, you about to find out. yes. And it went really well.
It went well at that one?
After I was it went extremely well. It was the same way. And then after that, like, people recognized me on campus. They call me for the next like month. I was just like, you're that funny guy. You're that funny guy. I'd be in the elevator. I was in the elevator at the lobby. You're that funny guy.
So, so this actually, enhanced your college experience. Like,
oh yeah.
It got you like to know people.
I stand up there. After that, I went to the Funny Bone.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember you told me about the Funny Bone.
I got first place for the Funny Bone when they did that. The next time I did it, I got second. I did a couple more like talent shows or things that they were trying to do at the school where I could just insert myself. And all of them went pretty well. I had 2 that didn't go well.
Yeah.
2 or 3.
You told me about those 2. Yeah.
I can't remember my record. I'm like 11-4 or something like that.
Yeah, I would like the comedians. I would keep record how many times.
Everyone's bombed, and it's not fun. It's not fun, man. It's different than any other experience. When you play a guitar or play some sort of instrument.
Yeah.
Most people, unless it's like awful, most people are like, that was good. But this is like the only craft where I get up front and you decide if I'm going to do well or not. So everything that I wrote, I think I'm killing it. I'm killing it. If I get up front and no one laughs, like that's my fault. So
Can you pivot though?
I mean, it depends how prepared you are.
There's some guys I've seen that they pivot and just start making fun of people in the crowd or something.
Yeah, you can. I mean, it all depends on the show, but you know, I the way I've been doing it is like, this is the stuff I want to try out. I want to try this out now.
So I know you took a long gap. Why did you take such a long gap between your college experience and doing it with Ron for his show, or just in general? I mean, I know you was interested in fitness. I know you did a lot of stuff in your 20s, but why did you were doing it in college? Why did you take a gap? Like, you were good at it. I mean, were you good at it now? But like, it was a skill. It's not like high school. Like, you're not like a running back where your body changes. Your mind's still gonna be your mind.
Yeah, I mean, I do. Part of me regrets taking such a gap. I did think about doing it full time, and then the whole concept of going to comedy clubs at night and hustling and bustling and job and money, it just didn't add up. Like, I like structure and not knowing how much my check will be or how much the next one will be just kind of stressed me out. So I just fell away from it and never really looked to going into any clubs. I wouldn't. I still saw people, like me and my wife saw Chris Rock, Kevin Hart, but nothing ever like struck me to like get back into it.
What brought you back into it again?
Ron did his comedy show, and he said, look, he told me a year before, or not his comedy show, but his podcast live show, and he said, look, I want you to do stand-up for 15 minutes. And I said, I haven't done stand-up in like 8 years, right?
Yeah.
He's like, all right, you'll be fine. You got a year. I said, okay. So that is when I literally started the, I don't know if I can look up when I started the notes, but that's when I started the notes. And
so Ron in saying, yo, I want you, you're like, okay, I actually need to prepare.
Yeah.
You're the most prepared person.
Well, the only thing about taking the break is what bothers me is that if I took the break, I should have still been just writing stuff down, because I missed out on writing a lot of experiences and things. Like,
you can go back, you got mad stories on me.
I get a lot of stuff from just talking to people, and just the more we talk about stuff and ideas that I have, I just start running them by people, and we just start talking about it, and they bring out different aspects. So I do miss that. 10 years I wasn't writing anything down, but with Ron, I was like, all right, it was more for him than me. Like, I didn't want his show to be terrible because I'm starting it off. So it was, all right, let's start writing stuff down, and let's start going to this small little rinky-dink restaurant that in the back they've got 15 people, watching you do comedy. 10 of them are comedians, trying to do something and try to like work some stuff out. So by the time I got to the show, it was, I hope this works. and it's like literally always like that. Like, I hope this works. You never know, what people are going to think is funny and not funny.
I don't know. I mean, and like you said, I had you on the queue for me. I was like, man, I'm jealous. Copy and paste. Shout out to Ron. I wanted you to do my junk and roast me for my Positive Philter live, because I was like,
I still got the notes in my phone.
Hey, he was ready.
I'm ready.
He was ready. I don't know. I just think that's interesting. I think that's like always something. Like, it's funny. Like, you have always been my funny friend. I don't know. Like, I don't see. There's a difference. I think I'm funny, but like funny, like haha, I'm laughing at you, and my life is a movie. But you're actually crafted and well prepared. I think there's two different types of funny. I don't try to be. I think I just be living. You actually are like more thoughtful about it. Delivery, timing. Actually, it's storytelling, all that stuff.
It's a craft. Like, should I drop? Yeah, I'll tell you a joke. So,
I'll tell you a joke.
It's not even a joke. It's just like a thought process. But so Ron was at my house all day today. Funny story that we're talking about him, and his power went out, and he just hit me up like, "Yo, I got stuff to do. Like, I need power. I need Wi-Fi. And so can I come over?" I was like, "Sure, whatever." So he brought his food over there, and he was like, "You guys got some hot sauce?" No. I don't like hot sauce. So he's like, how do you not have hot sauce? And he was like talking to Jen, and he was like, He's like, Jen, you're white. Like, if you really think Black Lives Matter, you need hot sauce in this house. And I said, Ron, I'm writing that down.
That's the one. That's the right about.
So
that's the right down one.
I was
yeah.
like, all right, hot sauce. That's all right. I'll do that. Right on my phone, like hot sauce.
Black Lives Matter.
Now I was like, barbecue sauce, seasoning salt. Black Lives Matter. But then you can tell the joke like backwards, and you can say, for all the white people out there that are protesting and everything, if you don't have, blah, blah, blah in your house, like, do Black Lives really matter to you if there's no Sweet Baby Ray's on the counter somewhere? Like, I think you're doing injustice to us.
Yeah.
So it's like,
like,
that's how people, comedians like play around.
I actually laughed because I was thinking about that in my head. Like, how woke, like, are you woke with barbecue sauce? Like, you said not just all, you said Sweet Baby Ray's. So that John was good.
Yeah. So it's,
man.
that's
your
I'm
thought,
not even.
That's your thought process, though.
I mean, I don't even know what the process is. Like,
it's like
I try to keep talking about the same thing in front of people, and then. But
what I'm hearing is that you do punchline or not, and you can say okay, and you just said it. Like, I don't think about that. Like, if I say it this way first or say this one first, it's almost like a structure.
Yeah.
And I don't structure anything, as you know. I just
it takes a lot of it. I mean, it's a lot to get up there in front of people and start talking about stuff, especially when you don't know the reaction and it's time that you spent on working on this, and then you don't get a laugh. Like, that's extremely frustrating. There's some things that I'll put together and I'm like, I know this is a hit.
The only thing I've always wondered about comedians, and you could tell me this too, is like they randomly, when they go through their jokes, it's like they just go from one place to the next. How do they decide? Like, they'll say that joke, and then they'll say a joke about marching, and then like how do they connect the dots like that? I've always found that interesting.
So I should just pull up my stuff, man. But I will have, my running like line of jokes that I want to talk about, and then depending on like if it's something for you or if it's just a random stand up, I'll try to put things together and put in and say like, all right, Philip's roast. And then after I have all those like paragraphs together, I'm like, how can I line up each one? So I started off talking about my son, and then I'll go from there to my son and my wife and parenting. Then I'll go from parenting, me and my wife, talking about relationships.
Yeah.
And then like that is how you like kind of like bring the stuff together. If you can find something small,
and you got to work on transitions too, because I always find that weird too. Like, they'll be like, and another thing, and they'll go to another joke or something like that. That's something I've always thought about. It's like, how do they even think to connect that together? Because like, you're right, it's a whole timing routine, and they have a time space, and they have to like go from one place to the next and wrap it up within whatever special they have.
It's a lot of practice and
how do you
preparation.
How do you remember where to go? Like I'm, like I said, me, I like to work on public speaking. How do you that's a lot of content. Do you memorize everything, or do you have like teleprompters, or what do you? How do you remember?
There's definitely no teleprompters, and there shouldn't be any in comedy. I wish I could find the notes that I had, but most of my stuff is stories. So I'm telling stories about my life that have happened. So, like, I think I started off with the Caleb story of hearing different accents from people, right? And so I'll just have something that says, like, Caleb accents. And then I'll go from that to, me and my wife parenting 2 kids. After that, I'll go to, relationships with 2 kids, and then just relationships, period. But I'll have a certain story that I remember, So all I need is like the line from the story, and I should have rehearsed, that joke so much that all I gotta see is me and Philip, Calvary Road, playing soccer, 8th grade. Oh, I know that one. And then I'm sorry.
So you get the bullet points of the story.
I just need the bullet points in my head. So if I've got 5 bullet points and each joke is 3 minutes, all I need to memorize is those 5 bullet points, because I've already run, those 5 or those 3-minute segments into the ground. Because
I know, like, for instance, like for I don't know about spatial awareness, but like for public speaking, like you also use the space. Like someone says, like, if you got like 3 points or 4 points, right? you sit there, like you stand in the middle, then you walk. You ever notice people that use the stage?
Yeah.
They'll go to the one part of the stage and say this thing, and then they'll walk to the other stage, and they use where they're gonna walk to start like jog. So do you ever think about that too? Like your spacing when you're standing up, like holding the mic and or you standing still? Because for instance, like I said, like for Toastmasters, and I'm learning about it, is that you will walk, say, yo, when I move to the left and stand still, I'm saying this. When I move back to the center, I say this. When I say to the right, say this. And then I go back to the center, I finish. And I'm using the space to remind me, too, of what I need to say at a certain time. Because as you said, you're not reading cards, you're not reading notes. You got to have it in your head.
I've never heard that before, but I like it.
Look at me.
It's a good way because, I mean, when you start, you'll realize when you first start, if you start doing comedy, 5 minutes can be a long time.
5 minutes is forever.
And so,
it's short and forever at the same time.
Most of the places I had always done, it was never over 5 minutes. Like 5 minutes was your max. So when he told me 15 minutes, I said, okay.
Hold up, time out. That was one of the longest? Was 15?
Oh, that's the longest. Yeah, I had never done 10 minutes. I've done like 6 or 7.
I will pause real quick. Like, I thought this is not me gassing you up. You know that. Well, actually, I love my friends.
Gas
anyway.
me up a little bit.
Gas it. No, but you look like you did that very often. But that must have been, like I said, the preparation that you did beforehand. That I thought you did 15 minutes before.
Yeah, I mean it went well. The main thing was
that's a lot. Though.
The main thing was like I can't. And same thing if it was for you. Like I can't let them down.
Yeah,
I can bomb by myself.
Oh yeah,
but I can't.
I
can't let someone else someone else's production like me. I mean, he chose me to be out on the forefront of his first thing. Like that was a lot of weight on my shoulders. So I just wanted consistent laughs.
Did you look at someone in the face? Like who was your?
No, I try not to, man.
When I do public speaking, I stare at someone. Actually, I ain't gonna lie. I do the scan the room and I pick a couple people, but then I actually pretend like I'm talking to them, and also I use those nonverbals. Am I right? Shake your head if you're right.
I try to. I think my dad told me this trick where you look over the crowd and it looks like you're looking at everyone. So I was just kind of scanning.
Shout out to Harold. Hey, he do that. He does it with he's really good at the reading though. He's been in front of audience. I mean, he's been in front of audiences too.
He's definitely where I get it from, but. Looking over, I'm pretty sure he told me this. If you look kind of like over the crowd, over like that last head in the back, and you scan, it looks like you're looking at everyone. So and I do that because if I look at someone in the face and it's like you, I'll be like, oh, that's Philip right there, and then I'll be like, what is my next joke? So that's where the consistency of getting out there a lot really helps techniques. You. But I'm not there where. I think I was talking to Ron today where I can just kind of venture off and then come back to my material. I'm terrified of venturing off and losing where I'm at. Like
freestyle a little bit.
That is like the next.
Like going off the beaten path and coming back to it.
That is like the next step that
I'm the opposite of you. I'm not scared of it. I'm just saying that's automatically what I'm doing. Like case in point. I need more structure like you. That's what I've been told about practicing. Like I said, I also appreciate that you have a craft. You know me, I'm working on public speaking and I go to Toastmasters and all that stuff. But I've always been there. Philip, you had no notes today. Your speech was all over the place. You seemed very comfortable, but it made no sense. And I was like, thank you. So I'm the opposite of you. I'm working on writing notes and bullet points and hit those points. I've used my public speaking training to more not the natural fear part. I haven't, me, I'm probably most random non-fear person ever. I need structure. You have this structure and it's probably the opposite of the coin.
So this is a field where you can't just do that. You can, I'm sure people do it all the time when they're just kind of just talking about stuff, feeling stuff out, but they're usually, professionals by then. We are trying to elicit a response from you. So if I'm going all over the place and it's not working, I want to get out of there because it's really quiet.
Yeah.
So that's why I need the structure because the feeling it's on two opposite ends. Like the feeling I had after the live show is like the high, you can't explain it.
You felt good, huh? I felt that before.
Oh my God, it was unbelievable.
Yeah, tell me nothing.
The feeling when you get up there and everything is going wrong is something you do not want to feel.
You
ever.
felt that too?
And like, I felt it at least a handful of times.
You felt that too?
Oh my God, it's awful.
Oh my goodness. Hey, I mean, I kind of feel that too. Like when I was doing powerlifting, and the only same thing I compare is that you put all this preparation into it and you fail in front of people. It sucks because you're like, they don't know I tried my hardest. You know, like when you like pick your openers and pick your lifts and you don't hit it. So I understand that feeling of like putting a lot of work into something and still going out, like putting a lot of work into something and still going out and not being good at it, not being successful. That is a feeling that does not, like you said, does not feel well. And then they're gonna be like, I remember that the large audience going like, I think you get silence, going, oh.
Yeah, that's a little different.
You see that when you fail a lift, you're like, come on, fail. Oh, you're like, I would myself get out of here.
Yeah, it's two different dynamics. I remember one time when I was working up to Ron's live show, and there was this joke that it was weird. It was hit one night, miss one night, hit one night, miss, and then I tell it to my friends. And I'm like, look, I'm working on this thing, or I just bring it up in conversation and see if they laugh. That's the best way I like to test my jokes. I just throw them out in conversation, and some would laugh, and I was like, I don't get it. So then I told it. So I would do this with my friends, and I got to like not the live show because I didn't end up telling it, which I should have. But when I did an open mic, I told the joke. No one laughed, and I was like, man, y'all didn't think that was funny? And then everyone laughed when I said that. That was like the first night that I got back, and I was like, why am I doing this again? What is wrong with you people? So I put in this craft of this joke, and then you guys laugh when I say I thought that was funny. So disrespectful.
I actually laughed just now.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's so funny.
I don't know, man. It's a tricky line of work,
it's
man.
A dirty game.
Shout out to people who have done it full force, and it's a rough time for people who are full-time comedians right now because live entertainment is kind of dead, and so
well, thank you so much. We're about to, I know I pivot on you. I think I learned a lot. I think I did not have this in mind. You know that. I definitely had a set track, but I love talking about this. But we're at the part of the show called Shot for Shot. Now, obviously, we've been sipping a little bit, but if you know my podcast, Shot for Shot means you get to ask me any random question. I get to ask you any random question. You want to go first? I'll go first.
Top 3 comedians.
See, that was my question.
You were about to ask me. And I was looking at you. I was like, I know he's about to ask me. I'm about to make you pivot.
Pivot.
On your own podcast.
So, on my own podcast. No, this is truthful. Like, ones I can watch over again. Dave Chappelle. He's still my all-time favorite for me. Eddie Murphy and Chris Rock. Now, if I can go to 5, I would add Kevin Hart and Richard Pryor. But you only asked me 3. So, those are... I gave you 5 anyway, but my 3 are those. Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle, and who's the other one I said? Eddie Murphy. Yo, and it's straight up off of stand-up. And I can go out to 10. Like, I definitely like Martin stand-up, Martin Lawrence, Jamie Foxx. I'm naming all black people. I don't know. Like,
I mean, that's who it is.
I'm noticing I'm only naming black males, but I think I just kind of vibe with their comedy. I was going to say something like one of the things I noticed about every single one of them is that every single one of them has taken a trauma or something sad and made it funny. Every single one of them. I don't know if that's the thing that you're thinking about with the two Kid Chronicles or whatever.
Everything is on the table.
Yeah, but it's sad. Like, if you think about it without, like, ha-ha laughing, like, most of the stories, like, if someone came to you for therapy and they were like, yo, I'm in therapy right now. I remember a time I set myself on fire smoking crack. You'd be like, that's not funny. But then Richard Pryor tells the story of him setting himself on fire, and it's people are laughing. I always find that fascinating. Or Kevin Hart talks about burying his mom and taking his mom to a funeral and almost dropping the casket. I was like, if someone told you that with like a straight face, that's a sad story. But if he told it, it's funny. I always found that. I found humor and comedy the most interesting dynamic where people can take the saddest stories and make them funny.
Yeah, I don't think I've ventured into that. But I definitely understand
I hope you
it.
didn't venture into smoking crack.
No. But taking things that are very personal, I've definitely taken things that are like very personal to me and brought them out. And people think you're. I heard this from a comedian. Like a lot of stuff that you hear is like those are the things that people are like. This is how I felt about Kid Chronicles. Like people are getting stress off of their chest. Like having 2 kids was a lot. I need some sort of outlet, so I'm making people laugh. People are, laughing back. Now, it doesn't take away from whatever is going on in my life, but it definitely helps the whole situation out.
Yeah. All right, so here's my question for you.
I'll give you my 3 comedians anyway.
Oh, you're going to do it anyway?
I know you want to know.
I do want to know, but I got another question.
So, Jamie Foxx,
yeah,
Dave Chappelle,
yeah,
and Martin are my personal favorites.
Yeah, it's all subjective, man. I tell you,
depends what you like.
All right, so here's a huge pivot. Basketball. I know you like to play basketball.
Oh boy.
You play basketball. Who you rocking with in the bubble league?
The bubble league.
Yeah.
Who do I think is going to win? Think it's going to be a team from LA. I'm not sure who, but I think it's probably going to be the Lakers or the Clippers. Who do I want to win? I think at this point I'm not really rocking with everybody. All my favorite players. I was rooting for the Blazers. I'm a big Carmelo fan.
Yeah, okay.
And that wasn't going to happen. But I'm just happy that there's sports on. So, I could care less who wins right now.
There we go. Me too.
I'm trying to think of someone, but
yeah, that's it. Well, This has been a great podcast. So this is the part of the show called Shout Outs and Plugs. Shout out anyone you want to show love to, and then plugs where people can find you, or if whatever you're comfortable with it, whatever you're comfortable with sharing. So the stage is set for you. Shout outs and plugs.
What am I allowed to shout out?
Shout out anyone. I don't know. Shout out. I don't care.
Okay.
And then plugs is where do you want people to find you?
I don't want anybody to find me.
Okay. He
won't
find you. Don't find him. He'll find you. That's what one of my LBs said. Shout out to Jason. He said he'll find you. That's the most creepy thing I ever heard, but he said it.
So let's see. Shout out to my family. So my cousins. My cousin Tierra. I like to call him just my brother. He's not even my brother-in-law, but I call him my brother Ray. They're starting a company called Strategic Site Consulting. They're giving consulting for people who have an idea about a business that they want to build. So I want to shout them out. You can look them up on Google, all your platforms. I'm working with them, black-owned business, and they're trying to help me with something that I'm trying to do. And then shout out to a mutual friend, Erica, who's starting her own web design graphics company. And
pause with that shout out. All the logos and all that stuff, she made this jump for Positive Philter, so shout out to her.
I don't want to mess it up, and I don't have it right here. I think it's PRUF Creative.
Is that her jump?
Yes.
It'll be correct in the show notes.
Yeah, it'll be. Thank you. I'm over here like scrolling for it.
Additionally, he gonna give a shout out to Jen. Shout out to his kids, Caleb and Jordan. Shout out to them. Shout out to myself.
I got it right. Yes.
I'm doing. Okay, here you go.
Yes.
I was just filling out. I was just doing filler shout outs. But go ahead.
But yes, shout out to them for web design graphics. She's already got a logo for something I'm trying to do. Definitely trying to work with people that I know, people I trust, and then I want to spread, if I know how they work, I know their work ethic, and that they can bring that to you. So those are my shout outs.
Good shout out. So make sure he's going to text me that so I put it in the show notes. And additionally, another additional shout out to Erica, like a long time ago, 3 years, just because she was rocking with me, she made my logo, and I use that image for like a billion things. So shout out to you. Trademark. Mad love.
Don't ask for the Marcus Jackson discount. You pay that money for what you want.
No coupon code.
No, none of it.
No. So thank you, Marcus. Thank you for being on the show. We went on a different tangent, but this is definitely what I pictured when I have you on my show. I'm gonna have you on my show again. I'm gonna tell you what we're gonna talk about, and then we're not gonna talk about it. None of that. No,
that should be the new topic of the new theme of the show.
No, I mean, I only do that with you.
Just start pivoting on people.
I feel comfortable with you to pivot. I don't. Some people send me the questions of what they want me to ask them.
Yeah, I'm never going to answer any of the questions. I'm deleting the notes that you sent me, all the answers that I had, all the stuff that I prepared for. What is the silver lining of 2 kids during COVID-19? And I'm sitting here in my house, writing an answer for it, and then we talk about comedy for 45 minutes. This is a typical Marcus and Philip conversation. Hey, let's call you Positive Pivot, man. This is where the comedian coming out. On the next Positive Pivot, we gonna talk about breastfeeding and then talk about buying cars.
I was going with the conversation. So a Positive Philter listener.
Positive Pivot. Shout out. My bad, I'm done.
So if you like this episode, please share it with a family and friend. It's Positive Philter. Filter is spelled with a PH. And if you want to leave a voicemail for the show, it's 571-336-6560. That's 571-336-6560. Spreading positivity is a movement. Everything showing love to each other. And thank you for listening. Thank you for listening to Positive Philter, a podcast that focuses on family, friends, career, with a little self-help along the way. If you enjoyed this podcast, please share it with your family and friends, and like the Facebook page, Spreading Positivity a Movement. Thanks for listening.